How's this for putting the high into higher education? There's a university in San Francisco devoted entirely to the study of cannabis. How to grow it, how to prepare it, how to sell it, and of course, how to avoid being locked up for it. Nowadays, California's marijuana laws are so relaxed, the state is even toying with the idea of making the stuff completely legal. In Australia, we've gone the other way. The busts are getting bigger, but so is the bottom line. Maybe it's time we took a leaf out of California's book and loosened up a bit. What harm could it do? Well, plenty of people reckon an awful lot. Up among the lush hinterland of the New South Wales far north coast, it all looks pristine.
There's a tree, right, another tree.
But hidden beneath the canopy, cannabis crops worth tens of millions of dollars.
This is all the big drug money stuff. Yep. This is where a lot of money's being made.
It's not long before State Drug Squad Commander Nick Bingham and his men find what they're looking for.
It's a pretty healthy looking crop, that one. See how bushy they are? They're just dripping with buds.
From dripping to dropping in, ripping up and hauling out. Dope. High as a kite, but not as growers and would-be smokers would like.
Oh my word.
With all the drugs that grab the headlines today, like ice, cocaine, ecstasy, you'd think that this stuff would be pretty passé. Well, you couldn't be more wrong. Because in the long-running war on drugs, Australian police insist that it's old-fashioned marijuana that is still the front line.
The green weed, cannabis, is the most prolifically used drug in the country. It outstrips all the other drugs combined. And we hope if we disrupt it enough, people will stop. Well, they'll never stop using it. We're hoping some people will stop using it.
So despite all this effort, all this public expense, even these cops concede the global war on drugs can never really be won. Which is why, half a world away, there's an amazing momentum to throw up the white flag.
We were supposed to have completely eradicated drug use from the earth by last year. And yet cannabis is the largest cash crop in California. We failed. So why keep doing what you've been doing when you know it's not working?
Berkeley, California.
Next page now.
Marijuana is bought, sold, and consumed here as casually as coffee in a cafe.
I'd like to see Mr. Nice.
Mr. Nice?
And the All-Star.
This dispensary is selling what's called medicinal marijuana. Any adult with an appropriate medical certificate can walk through these doors and score.
Looking for indicas.
You're looking for indicas, medicating for pain probably?
A lot of pain.
Okay, sleep and that type of thing?
Cold and sleep, yes.
Okay.
All with the blessing of Californian law.
So we have edibles, we have beverages, we have whole plant medicine, extracts.
Okay, so you can literally choose your poison.
Except that it's not poison, because it can't kill you. Nice try.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Dale Clare is a cannabis campaigner, educator, and self-described marijuana self-medicator. For her and everyone else here, this is basically a pharmacy, albeit unlike any you've seen before. What's the maximum that I can buy?
2 ounces.
2 ounces a day?
Yeah, a day.
How much is 2 ounces? Can you show me?
2 ounces would be like, here's 2 prepackaged ounces.
So that is 2 ounces?
Correct.
And legally, I can buy that amount every single day?
Well, so as long as you can prove you need it, you can possess as much as you need.
So usually I take one hit and then I'll take another one.
It's hard to know how many here have a genuine medical need. Just like having a cigarette. Certificates are very easy to get. You feeling better already?
Oh, yeah. Can you tell? Yeah.
But soon, you may not need an excuse. Almost half of Californians now believe any adult should be able to walk in, light up, and hang out in a place like this.
Down the road, we could see lounges. We could see opportunities for convenience stores or full-service sit-down restaurants where instead of a drink, you order some hash.
It was in this city 40 years ago that the hippie movement led the way in the illegal use of marijuana. It's fitting then that local campaigners here have managed to collect 700,000 signatures to force a statewide vote to allow the drug to be sold alongside beer and cigarettes. You see, those freewheeling pot smokers have become today's establishment, and the resistance to legalising cannabis is fast going up in smoke.
Now, if we're able to actually put it in the hands of regulators, we're taking the money away from the black market and we're putting it in the hands of the cities and counties so that they can use this money for education. They can use it for law enforcement.
How much money are we talking about?
Current estimates per year in the state of California is approximated around $1.4 to $1.8 billion. Tax revenue.
Billion.
Billion.
You'll have a right to go to trial within 60 days thereafter.
That juicy tax carrot has helped make this proposal politically palatable, especially in a state that's broke and with a justice system that just can't cope.
Number 18, Javier Peralta.
9 a.m. at the Orange County Courthouse, and it's the start of another busy day.
You also have a misdemeanor that ends in 258.
It's an all too familiar scene for retired Judge Jim Gray.
It just seems to be an amazing chain of people through here.
It's never ending. The chain of people coming through these courts is never ending.
Judge Gray spent much of his career in courtrooms like this, enforcing US drug laws. By the end of it, this Republican voting conservative had reached a very unconservative conclusion.
There is no question in my mind that if we were to tax and control and regulate cannabis, that we would reduce the number of people in prison. What we're doing is crazy.
This is the day that you were formally advised of the charges.
Victory in the war on drugs today is increasingly simply defined as slowing down the pace of defeat. Everybody realizes what we're doing isn't working.
Let me get this right. Have you ever tried dope?
I never tried any form of illegal drug, including marijuana. I'm just not interested.
Do you think then that it's a harmful drug?
Yes, but far and away today, the most harmful thing about marijuana is jail.
But while America moves towards looser drug laws, here in Australia, we're headed the other way. Western Australia is set to introduce the country's toughest cannabis laws. With good reason, according to Premier Colin Barnett.
And more studies are coming out showing the mental health consequences, schizophrenia, depression, hallucinations.
If California says yes, can you ever see a day where it would be legal in any state of Australia?
I certainly hope not. And I think it's incumbent upon a government to give a very clear message to young people that cannabis is dangerous, don't go near it, don't use it.
When you were smoking every day, would you have ever considered coming for a walk here along the river?
No.
Jade Bowler has the same advice, and she's qualified to give it.
Oh, it got to the point where I didn't really care much for my life.
It's hard to imagine when you meet her, but this bright Perth teenager has recently emerged from a dependence on cannabis that nearly killed her.
I didn't care about anything. I didn't care what would happen to me. I didn't care where I would end up. Just as long as I was happy for the moment, I was okay. In the end, I thought about ending my life on a lot of occasions.
Jade smoked her first joint when she was just 12, the start of a rapid slide into the grip of addiction.
It became so addictive that I was unable to function without it. So I would wake up in the morning and I would feel really anxious, really jittery. I wouldn't be able to do normal everyday things.
You had to have a smoke the minute you woke up.
Yes. Okay, I can go.
Jade's now 19 and has her life back on track thanks to 3 years of live-in rehab.
That's all right, we'll get that.
But she could never support legalising a drug that she says led to such a spiral of self-destruction.
I thought I had control over it, but then I tried to give up, and then I realised that maybe I didn't have as much control as I thought I did.
That's the acid test, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you won't hear about the growing evidence of marijuana's harms here.
You've got to be qualified before we can actually put the cannabis plant in your hands.
This is Oaksterdam University in California. It's a cannabis campus, where, as Executive Chancellor, Dale Clare teaches students how to ingest, invest, and of course, how to grow the green weed.
If I could have all this in my lounge room and grow it as an indoor plant, what's next?
How many beers are in your fridge? How many bottles of whiskey or bourbon do you keep for guests before they come over?
But where do I go from here?
What we're talking about
would you
here?
advocate heroin? Is that the next step after I'm allowed to have one of these?
What we're talking about right now is that if your child gets caught with this plant, this little plant right here, this is what it's all about, that we would rather put your child in prison than in school.
Okay, there's 6 in here. There's 7 in that one over there, and they're all 8-man tanks. There's 5 or 6 in this next tank over here.
In Hudspeth County, southern Texas, they don't pay much mind to fancy Californian notions about legalization. On the US border with Mexico, Sheriff Arvin West considers himself a frontline commander in America's war on drugs.
Tanks filled with nothing but marijuana runners.
No dope running, your jail would be almost empty.
Right.
Sheriff West's cells are chock-a-block with career drug runners.
When you get out and you go back to Mexico, will you ever do it again?
Depends.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You can't just say no?
And this is what he's prepared to go back to. Mexico's drug cartels are ruthless when it comes to securing and controlling smuggling routes into the US.
It is a war. It's a never-ending battle. They're always coming across.
At stake, 1.5 million kilos in cannabis sneaked across this border every year.
These deputies with the guns, do we really need that here?
There's people watching us as we speak.
What, now?
Right now.
Okay, well maybe I should stand on this side.
You're the bigger target, so go ahead and stand over here.
For now, the war goes on. There's 2 little sites there.
There's actually 4, I think. There's 2 there. There's another one just further up, and I think there's one on the other side of that as well.
Oh, okay. These are very nice. These are processed with beauty.
But where California leads, the world so often follows. And cannabis campaigners are quietly confident. After all, many of the lawmakers who'll decide were once law breakers themselves.
The only difference between the President of the United States and the guy sitting in prison right now is that one of them got caught.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.